Yo, how is it going my fellow DeFi DEGEN friends? I hope you're all doing well today. And in today's video I want to talk a little bit about T-shares, 2shares, 3shares, Scarab, and pretty much any share token that comes along with a seigniorage project. Tell you a bit about why they're so volatile, if you should be investing in them, and all the risks associated. This video is more for the DEGENs that are newer to these seigniorage projects who are not sure why they bought the top of T-shares at 26k and why is it sitting at 7k now. So if you're unfamiliar with seigniorage projects, the share token, this is from Tomb's docs. Tomb shares or T-share are one of the ways to measure the value of the Tomb protocol, and shareholders are trust in its ability to maintain Tomb close to peg. During epoch expansions, the protocol mints Tomb and distributes it proportionally to all T-share holders who have staked their tokens in the Masonry boardroom. This is the same for all seigniorage projects. Every project has got a share token which holds the most value, but it's also got the most volatility too. It's a very high risk play. Comparing that to playing the algo token, which is pegged to Phantom or thereabouts, playing the shares is just extremely volatile. You should do so with extreme caution. If you see a share token is pumped, like 50 to 100% in a day or a couple of days, then you're probably best off waiting for a drawback, waiting for a better entry, because it's likely that that's going to happen. There will be a correction. There's so much hype that goes into these share tokens. You've got to be very, very cautious when you're aping into them. Having a quick look at the chart, you can see that T-share started off very low, and then gradually through November it hit about 16.8k. It came back down a bit to around 10k, and then leading through to the end of December it hit 23k there. That's on this DEX screener chart. And obviously somebody bought that top, somebody was exit liquidity, some guy's pissed off at the protocol that he bought the top, and it happens in every share token. Comparing that to 2shares, this is about the point where Harry jumped in, funded the project, and then it got sent. So it went almost from $800 all the way up to it touched just over $8,000, and obviously somebody bought in here. A lot of the value that comes into these tokens is based on speculation, it's based on a lot of volatility, it's based on people making bets that it's going to fly even more. People ape into 2shares at 8k thinking it's going to do a T-shares and get to like 22, 24k, and as much as that could happen, but in the space of 4 days when the price has gone 8x, that's not the time where you want to be buying. You do want to wait for a trace down, and that happened exactly from the 7th of Feb at 8,000 on 2shares up until a couple of days ago the price bottomed out again at almost $2,000. So that's an extreme case of volatility. If you're the guy who's buying at 8,000, then your investment has been divided by 4 just in the space of a couple of days. Also, comparing that to 3shares has about 10x less circulating supply than 2shares, and based on after the Harry announcement, 3shares was sitting around this $3,500 mark, and then within the space of 4-5 days again, 3shares actually topped around this $27,000 mark. That's almost 10x in the space of a couple of days. And the same again, somebody would have bought that top, and then the price has since corrected all the way down now to about 5,500. So that's 5 times less than the guy who bought the top. So you always want to wait for those retracements on the share tokens. As I said, they're extremely volatile. It's the same for Scarab, which is the share token for the Scarab protocol. There was no Harry announcement, but as I explained in one of my previous videos, Scarab was actually below peg for some time. There was quite a bit of volatility during this time whilst it was under peg. The price was jumping up and down from $300 to $100, and then once Scarab hit peg there was a lot of hype going on, and the price jumped from almost $127, and it topped just over 1,000, nearly 1,100, and since then it's retraced now to 300, and there's every chance that that's going to put back up to 1,000, or it could jump back down to 100. So it's extremely volatile in all of these share tokens. You've got to really be careful with how you manage your risk jumping into these tokens. The price can drop 4 times, but it can also jump 4 times as much. So there's a fear and greed index reader for us DEGENs. You can either be at the bottom you know, conservative DEGEN, or you can be right at the top as like extreme DEGEN and going all in on a share tokens. Obviously, I do not suggest that. It's not financial advice. If you are going to jump into the share tokens, I would just say, you know, start off with a small amount of money, maybe 10% of what you would put in. Say you had $1,000, maybe just put $100 in, you know, see how the chart rides out, see what the sentiment is, and then maybe put a bit more in if the price drops, or if you see that there's a big catalyst coming for the project, maybe you could put a bit more in after that. Just be very cautious with how you're investing there. As I said, the shares tokens could just absolutely clean you out, or it could make you rich. So DEGEN meter, see where you're at. So these seigniorage projects are supposed to be pegged to Phantom. If you're looking to make a bit of stable income in these projects, then you're better to just get into the native stable token, which is either Tomb or 2Ohm, 3Ohm or Scarab, and just LP in those tokens. So pair the native token with FTM, put it into an auto compounder, which, you know, yields a lot of good results. I've spoke about this in previous video, but you can get up to 2 to 4% per day in Scarab or in 2Ohm. You know, there's a lot of opportunity there. If you want to de-risk, then definitely look at doing that. You can see correlations in the Tomb chart and the T-shares chart, how the volatility of T-shares ran. So this is the Tomb FTM chart, which shows you the peg. So anything above 1.01, that's when the masonry prints. The masonry offers high percentage yields in all of the different seigniorage projects. Masonry boardroom for 2Ohm, APR is 946, and in Scarab it's the Temple, APR 996. So if you look at the chart, when Tomb is, you know, absolutely flying above peg between, you know, this point 22nd of November through to, you know, through December. If you look at the same on the T-shares chart, you can also see that's when T-shares is thriving, you know, above 12k, going up all the way above 20,000. And then when you see the sharp drop off around, you know, towards the end of January, that's when you also see that the peg is not holding up very well. It's dropping below 1.01, and that is when people start to de-risk these assets. So a lot of the smarter DEGENs, they're looking at, you know, the shares tokens as they know how risky they are, they know how volatile they are. They know that if the peg token has gone below the 1.01 threshold or 1.01 TWAP, which makes the masonry or the boardroom or the temple print, then that's when they start to de-risk and they start to sell off the share assets. So that's what you want to be extremely cautious about. If you are going to play the shares token game, then you have to make sure you're keeping your eye on the TWAP. The TWAP is a time-weighted average price based on an epoch. An epoch is 6 hours long. If the price is above 1.01 for the average of them 6 hours, then, you know, the masonry boardroom temple will print, and that's when people are looking into getting more shares. But if the epoch is below that, then, you know, we're talking about bonds, and then a lot of people are de-risking from the shares token. So there's lots of different aspects that you have to consider when you're getting into them. You know, definitely go and read the docs, jump into all of the discords in Tomb, 2Ohm and Scarab. There's lots of helpful people that are always there to guide, you know, newcomers and people who aren't too sure. All the information's in the docs, but we are DEGENs, you know, we only read the docs so much. We're not going to sit down with a cup of tea and, you know, read through pages and pages and pages. Obviously, it is advised to read the docs. Make sure you do your own research on these things. But I think it is good to hear perspectives from other people, you know, gauge a bit of their knowledge, see what their best strategy is and what the best thing is to do for you and the protocol and everything, you know, combined. There's a lot of synergy between the two. So yeah, go and read a bit more. If you need any more information about some of the things I've talked about, if you want me to talk more about bonds or any other part of the seigniorage project, or if you've got any other questions, just let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter is @_Charus, CHARUS. But remember, none of this is financial advice. You've got to stay safe out there, make good investments, and have a good day.